Since I've worked in correctional settings for a number of years, and honestly what used to weigh 300 pounds, I weigh 185 now. I developed a very unique crossover between a couple of these powerful patterns. I have some niche marketing where I'm going to be working with fat inmates. It's a gigantic population, strong, powerful. One of the things I've worked with a lot is people are afraid not to repeat behaviors that hurt them. I got to say that again. People are afraid not to repeat behaviors that hurt them because down that memory system, they remember that behavior is protected. And it's like it's an old winter day and you're walking along and someone starts going, bam, bam, starts blasting with old snowballs. So you find an old garbage can there, you put that in front of you, boom, boom. It stops those snowballs, and it works. Now the problem is summer comes, you look a little goofy, and your friends and people care for you say, you know, you're too hard on yourself, you're too much of a perfectionist, too critical. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, I'm going to make the correction. So you start to drop that behavior. How do you feel inside? How do you feel? You feel afraid. What do you do with that fear? You put it back. Put the behavior back. How do you feel now? You feel safe. And that's exactly what I meant by people are afraid to stop behaviors that actually hurt them. And weight issues are just gigantic in our culture. And people will do anything to lose weight except two things. They'll eat muffins in the middle of the night that glow and chant. I had a friend of mine who went on an all-apple diet. She didn't lose any weight, but she had diarrhea for a month. And they'll do anything except two things. They won't eat less, and they won't exercise more. They'll do anything else except those two things. And it goes right back to the whole thing that people are afraid not to repeat behaviors that hurt them. So the real question comes, this level's obvious and conscious. What's driving all? What's the power behind all that? And what you're going to find is you're going to find behind this is a fear. And I call it a mythical fear. And it's not seen real consciously. People don't understand that. And basically what the fear is, it's an anticipation. It's a negative anticipation. It's like here's a life road, here's the SDV road. It's saying, you know, I was up that road one time. I opened for people, I got close to people, I tried in school, and I got hammered. So what we do is we block off a healthy choice to a fear, a mythical fear. And it's basically an anticipation. And what it's saying in a real gut level down here, if you stop this, if you stop this behavior, something bad's going to happen to you. Something bad's going to really happen to you. And that becomes a fuel to do self-defeating behaviors. Now, where does the fear come from? The fear comes from down in here, what I call a behavioral belief. Once again, partially are unconscious, partially seen, partially unconscious. And what this does, this says you keep that behavior and you're safe. So you get these two drivers down in people. The mythical fear says if you're dumb enough to stop the behavior, you're going to get hurt. And the behavioral conclusion says you better keep it or you're not going to be protected. Classic example, working with eating disorders people. People, they look like dead bananas. You see them dying right in front of you. And they want to lose weight so bad. They want the promise. It's like a little trick in the mind. You know, if you continue this behavior, you're going to be thin and beautiful, and people are going to respect you. And if you stop the behavior, you're going to be ugly, and you're going to, all these bad things are going to happen to you. Now, just the reverse happens. I understand it. It's a little trick in the mind. People won't see it. So the promise is, if I continue with my eating disorder, I'm going to be thin and have dates, and people are going to like me. And if I'm dumb enough to stop, something bad's going to happen to you and get rejected. And think about the little girl in the 8th grade who's overweight, criticized, laughed at, and she starts an eating disorder. All of a sudden she's got dates, people like her, and she begins to learn down here, you know what? I have an experience where I'm overweight, and I put in a behavior in there because there's a lot of pain in there. And I put an eating disorder in there, and it worked. So experience plus behaviors equals conclusion. And the important part about this right here is that becomes a feeling inside. I feel stupid. I feel worthless. I feel that no one's going to love me. And this thing festers in people, and they're afraid to stop it. And these are the big drivers. And what you have to do is you have to consciously get the drivers up into the conscious mind and work with them. In the AA community, these behavioral beliefs are called demons. And people are always talking about fighting their demons. And it's a struggle. I recently helped a guy with some weight issues, and every day about 11:30, he would start to have a lot of tension. I'm not going to eat that much. I'm not going to eat that much. I'm not going to eat that much. I had to, and this whole thing, you know. And then 12 o'clock would come, and right back to the classic box, and you'd start eating. And ironically, when you are afraid of your self-defeating behaviors, and you do it, you get a brief moment of relief. It's like, I know you're going to reject me. I know you're going to reject me. And then you reject. Thank God it's over. I feel safe. And it's like being on the last chance airline, and the air stewardess comes out and says, when we go down, and it's already a foregone conclusion you're going to go down. Now there's another little puzzle in here. I want to talk about that for a second. I call it the iron triangle. What's that mean? You have a belief, say I'm stupid, okay? I've had experiences in my life, I put a behavior in there, and I formed a conclusion. I keep my mind closed off, I'm safe. But I feel kind of stupid. So school starts. I think, well, you know, I'm gonna try it this year. And in a little split second, I forecast up there. You know, I've been up there before. I know it's up there. I'm not going up there. And so that fear blocks off that healthy response. And I move away from the fear. I move away from my fear, which is human behavior. And I skip school. I don't turn assignments in. And I play sports all the time. And what kind of grades did I get? I got a D- average. And I wrote footnote in high school to make sure I wasn't lying to myself. Okay, so you're afraid you can't make it. You put the very behaviors in operation to make sure you don't make it. And what's that tell you about the conclusion? It's true. 78% go back to prison. I can't go straight. I can't go straight. Do criminal behavior, go back to prison. I can't lose weight. I tried this 100. And when people get on that cycle, it goes round and around and around and around. It just deepens that conclusion. And so this is the real, where you really have to go to help people change. Is to get to help, they begin to see this as a lie. And it creates the fear, drives the behavior, and those behaviors are just a little caboose, chuggy going on, and those drivers down there, what we have to really get at. When you talk about those mythical fears, those beliefs, there's some very interesting questions to ask yourself. Think about, you've been through experiences like getting rejected and we build a wall, or you've been through experiences like being a creep in junior high school, so you start smoking. And we build conclusions like, I'm overweight and getting rejected, so you have an eating disorder. Or we're overwhelmed, so we become depressed. And all these things seem to be working for us. As long as I keep that garbage can left in front of me, I'm safe. First question you want to ask yourself is, what are you avoiding? It took about 10 years to understand this. If I'm doing self-defeating behaviors on the SDB road here, what am I not doing? I'm not doing healthy behaviors, okay? So in the mind, we're more afraid of doing healthy things as opposed to being depressed or being overweight or being critical, which doesn't make a lot of sense today, but you go back in a person's past and they needed that buffer between that.